This is America's oldest soccer tournament. Built in small towns with big dreams. From local grounds to the biggest stages, part-timers and major leaguers chase the same thing. A cup that doesn't care about your club's payroll or what the pundits say. A cup that invites the chaos and carries a legacy. Under the lights, between the lines, it's one match at a time. To cement your name in history. This is the 111th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone, and what better way to celebrate tradition than with the longest-running tournament in the country. Tonight, Westchester United hosts Loudon United in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Alongside Ryan Davis, I'm Phil Galani, and Ryan, over 100 years of history, returns to the pitch tonight. What a treat.
I love it. All the nuances of the U.S. Open Cup, all the history, and all the baggage for teams that failed in the Cup as well. The beauty and the beast of the Cup continues well past 100 years.
So let's take a look behind the badge for both sides, starting with the hosts, Westchester United, under head coach Blaise Santangelo, won the national championships for the USASA in Milwaukee in the 120th minute to book their place tonight. Last year, though, they lost 3-2 in the first round to Loudon United, a bit of a revenge game, but 10 players signing pro contracts from that 2025 Westchester team, so a lot of new young faces in the fold for the hosts tonight. Meanwhile, on the other side of midfield for Loudon, their best finish in the tournament just 2 seasons ago, making it all the way to the round of 16. But tonight, a new man in charge in Anthony Limbrick. Coach Limbrick has plenty of experience in cups like these, with a number of FA Cup upsets under his belt on the other side of the pond. Tonight, looking to get his first win in charge of his new club. So almost time to get the ball rolling on a freezing night in Pennsylvania. Not that the fans care, as the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is finally back in action. We'll take you through the starting 11 for both sides, but first, a quick break. Don't go anywhere.
Rodman cuts inside. Rodman to the far corner. It's a special goal from Trinity Rodman. Macario goes to tip the keeper. It's sublime. Lamar from distance.
Charlotte should be fantastic. Playing in Bank of America, it's a massive stadium, and
Charlotte's fans are always super loud and make it difficult as an opposing team.
So I think finally having them on our side and to be cheering for the team I'm going to be playing on is going to be amazing.
We'll see you on May 31st, Charlotte.
Rodman cuts inside. Rodman to the far corner. It's a special goal from Trinity Rodman. Macario goes to tip the keeper. It's sublime. Lamar from distance. Rodman cuts inside. Rodman to the far corner. It's a special goal from Trinity Rodman. Macario goes to tip the keeper. It's sublime. Lamar from distance.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the starting 11 for both sides. And Ryan, what sticks out to you?
Westchester United are going to come out in a 4-4-2 diamond. That's a counter-attacking sort of formation. On the other side, Loudon United 3-4-3. That is a possession type formation. They want to be the protagonists tonight. However, if you look at the wing backs, Luke Thomas on one side and Shunahera on the other side for Westchester, they're going to have to keep up with the wide players for Loudon tonight. Should be a great matchup.
Over 100 years of history in the books tonight. The first chapter in the 2026 era of the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. Westchester in the all black on the left side of your screen. Loudon United in the white with the red stripe. A 5-goal thriller in the first round in 2025. But as mentioned for Westchester, 10 of the players from that roster signing professional contracts around the world, and now a young team that is ready to fight back and get its revenge.
And it gives you a little inkling of what US soccer is coming. A team in the lower leagues in USPL now has a chance to sign players from around the globe to try and compete in cups like this.
A number of players on this roster playing their college soccer, most recently with Princeton. 5 Tigers in total. They went to the NCAA National Championship Tournament last year as the 3 seed after a perfect record in the Ivy League.
You know, we were talking before this match, and the fact that this Westchester team could come tonight in front of their home crowd and try to really prolong the game as long as they could against a talented Loudon team. And of course, US Open Cup just allows all of the upsets to come into play. And this Loudon team has to look out for a trap game, as we call it, right here in Westchester.
Well, head coach for Loudon, Anthony Limbrick, spoke on the importance of this matchup. He has a wealth of coaching experience in England. They have the FA Cup, which is very similar to this tournament, where you have teams from all leagues competing. He helped a couple different sides to cup sets on the other side of the pond. This is his first US Open Cup night, and he said he was very excited for it.
I mean, just think of it. Westchester County by itself, that's a couple streets long, a couple streets wide. That's the beauty of the cup. Everyone who has representation gets a chance to play.
Marcos Diaz in behind and gets an early goal for the visitors. His first for his new club. Marcos Diaz in the 3rd minute stuns Westchester.
This is exactly what Westchester did not need, and Loudon with their wide, quick players in Diaz. It's just a little bit of room here, Phil, and he breaks free. He does not hold back, and it's a toe poke in the last post that does it. Very Brazilian by Diaz. Absolute great finish.
Named the MLS Next Pro Playmaker of the Year last year with New England Revolution 2, and now scores his first goal for the USL Championship side in the first round of the US Open Cup.
Still early days. Westchester does not have to come forward or come roaring forward. Continue your game plan till the end of the half for the next, 42 minutes. Take your time, play exactly like Coach talked about before the game. Nothing changes, even though it's just a 1-0 game.
This Westchester team more than able to play from behind. Just a few days ago, winning the Eastern Pennsylvania Amateur Cup for the 5th time. They were down 4-3 with 10 men in the 65th minute. They won it in the 94th to get some more silverware.
So they know exactly what it takes to come back in tight situations, in a cup game, in a big game with so much at stake.
Excellent opportunity to level the score from the dead ball opportunity all the way on the far side. Loudon home the line 12 yards out.
Look up to Luca Miller at the back post.
Instead it goes to the front post, headed straight up by Grant Robinson, still pinballing around, appeals for handball, and the shot fired over the bar.
It was Mellor who came in from the back post and almost cleaned up that untidy clearance from Loudon. Black shirt just hanging around, exactly what you want to do. Second ball, third ball, and Mellor couldn't keep his shot down, but just having a shot on goal does give everyone in the Westchester team a little bit of an ease, some confidence now on their backs.
Luca Miller with some playing experience across the pond as well, joining the Manchester United Academy at age 6. Played his college ball with Villanova and Pitt. now serves as the head coach of Eastern University in the NCAA Division III.
Imagine walking the halls in Manchester United's club, seeing players like Roy Keane, David Beckham, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Eric Cantona, just legends of the game. Sir Alex Ferguson, of course.
There's a real wealth of talent in this Westchester United side, and of course they have a track record of producing players that have chased their dreams, followed the ladder. Over 20 players around the world just in the last 10 years signing professional contracts from this side, as this one goes out for a goal kick.
Now Westchester under the goal kick of Bandre, Ethan Bandre. They're going to press high. As you can see the black shirts right into the living room of Loudon and try to force some action and force Loudon, who just lost their opening match to Pittsburgh this weekend, try to find some mistakes or some holes in the back line where you can get a quick counter press and an easy goal.
First test for head coach Anthony Limbrick and this Loudon side, as you mentioned, just a couple days ago against the defending USL Championship Cup winners. He said, quote, there were a lot of lessons learned, a lot of positives to take away from a group that didn't have a very long preseason, a much younger team than last year for this Loudon side, still littered with experienced leaders. A positive step in the right direction to start 2026.
You know, you and I talked before this match, we talked about the width of the field. Even though they're playing in a 3-4-2-1, they want to have possession, they want to use the sides, but because there's not much room to play with, this Westchester team can press them towards the sides, corral them towards the sides, and try to quick counters in their 4-4-2 diamond formation.
Loudon trying to find that space, switching the point of attack. Immediately under duress. Nervy moment there with the high press. And out to claim is Andrew Samuels.
Now, we all love the high press, but how long can you sustain it? And we talk about possession in a soccer match. It's like body punches in a boxing match, where you wear the other team down, and towards the second half, after you're chasing shadows for so long, things begin to break down, gaps begin to open up. That's what Loudon wants.
That's what's so interesting when you have so many Division I college players for Westchester, is the pace of that game compared to the pros. In college, unlimited subs teams will often go full throttle from the first kick to the final whistle. The stamina required to play at that level is second to none, and should be a very interesting matchup as this game goes on.
You said it, Phil, because of the unlimited substitutes, which I think may be addressed pretty soon in college soccer. They have this false belief that they can run all game long and get subbed out. Here in the big dance, in the big yard we call it, you will be subbed out. You can't be subbed out. You have to run the entire 90 minutes or until your number is called.
Elvis Amo doing enough to earn the throw-in, providing the assist just a few minutes ago after making his Loudon United debut for a few minutes off the bench on Saturday. 34 years of age, his second stint with the club after signing back in 2019, and he has 4 goals in 4 U.S. Open Cup appearances to his name.
That's a 100% record.
It's pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
Long throw-in on the way. Everybody back for the hosts. Won by Thomas. Unable to keep hold of it. Second ball sent in. Still free for a moment.
Great outlet.
Clearance falls to Hermosi. Trying to beat a couple players. Instead, it's taken by Diaz, who loses his footing.
Diaz, a right footer who's playing at left wing back or left midfield, whichever one you want to call it. That right foot came into good use for the opening goal, but again, doesn't provide that natural width with the righty on the left. You don't mind inverted wingers like that when they're playing higher up the pitch, but when you're playing in a midfield scenario where you're either playing as a wing back or a wide midfielder, you want the righty on the right and the lefty on the left.
That's what we were talking about before this match kicked off, is this is going to be a very vertical game, very up-tempo game. So the wingback's going to come into play to see if they have everything in the locker. Great ball in, the shot blocked. It was Ridge Robinson on the doorstep with 3 white shirts around him.
I tell you what, that was Luke Thomas getting to the byline, and he put a beauty of a pass just behind the traffic to have somebody follow up towards that penalty spot. Great thinking by the left back.
We talked about Elvis Amo's goal-scoring record in this competition. Ridge Robinson, 65 goals, 42 assists in all competitions for Westchester just last year.
Sharing is caring. 42 assists. That's amazing.
Robinson, 32 years of age, originally from Colorado, played his college ball back in the day with Coastal Carolina and Drexel. At that time, led his program to the highest number of wins of any team in the country. Played some professional ball in Norway as well.
You know, you're always towing the line when you're a USL Championship team or an MLS team playing against, let's just call it a lower team, because there's so much at stake with your players in the upcoming league match this weekend. Players maybe a little bit tentative in regards to going into tackles, don't want to get injured. Coaches don't want to say that, but they hope the players understand that. And it looks like the Westchester player was the one who got the worst end of it.
Well, right on cue, it's a late challenge. Referee Stephen Foster sounded the whistle.
Well, it's Diaz who arrived late to the party, and that's the back heel just matched the toe of the Westchester player, which is Malor. That is going to leave a mark. A studs on your toe. Let me tell you something. That's ice right after the match.
Well, the evening is certainly cold enough for it, right?
Just stick your toe out.
Well, one on the far side and room to roam, if not for the foul, as Jackson Martin with a little bit too much contact for the referee's liking.
Smart move by Martin. There was just a little bit of daylight for Loudon. He was out of position, so they can have exploited that right-hand side. Just tumbled over his opponent just to get the free kick and get himself behind the ball.
Andre will reset from the back, and excellent poise to avoid the high press. Loudon almost inviting that pressure forward before trying to play through it.
Oh, what a turn.
Amo with some great skill, has options either side, looks for Panayotu, who dummies it. Sent into the box, but blocked at the first and second time of asking. And then cleared away.
That turn by Amo was just absolutely delicious. Took two players with him, left them at the back, and then he looked inside immediately and tried to find that final product, the final pass or final shot. Only an experienced player like Amo can do that.
Luke Thomas with another good ball in. Bandre will claim. Ethan Bandre, who stole some headlines last year in the U.S. Open Cup with the Tampa Bay Rowdies after they went to 11 rounds of penalties with USL League One side FC Naples, an all-Florida battle. Bandre making the pivotal stop, 9-8 the final score.
I remember that game. The highlights of the game, the actual saves that he put down was just heroic.
Well intercepted by Robinson, and the flag will go up against Elvis Amo. On May 31st, Charlotte, North Carolina welcomes the U.S. men's national team for the All-State Continental Classico against Senegal, the champions of Africa. Get your first look at the nation's biggest stars before they head to the World Cup this summer. Match kicks off at Bank of America Stadium at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tickets are available now at ussoccer.com/tickets. Another try from range. This one will spin out for a corner kick. It was the center half, Salvatore Monteferro, trying his luck.
Well, covering a lot of ground from box to box. James Murphy is one of those players with a high engine, and he can defend. And some coaches would say it's the most important position on the field because he can turn the ball over and then take that defense and turn it into attack, which he just tried to do.
Either it's Murphy's shot that wins the corner, him with over 12,000 minutes across his USL Championship career. Crowded 18-yard box, free header off the post and cleared away. It was Sean Young who nearly found the back of the net after doing so on Saturday against the defending USL Championship Cup winners.
It's almost 2 for 2 for Young, and he just sort of pulls away from his markers. Looks like the black shirts completely lost where Young went.
Panayotu will send this in on the natural left foot. Another chance for a free header. This one sent away from goal and work to do. Instead, Luka Piras commits a foul. So 15 minutes gone, just outside of Greater Philadelphia. Philip Galani, Ryan Davis with you. Ryan, thoughts so far on the opening minutes for both sides?
I think for Westchester, despite going down a goal, everything is going according to plan. They're trying, whenever the ball goes out wide for Loudon, they take that diamond in midfield and it shifts right across, and they try to force them towards the sidelines. As for Westchester, they take a lot of pressure off of themselves, getting an early goal against the team that was expected to cause an upset.
Searching ball in behind. Martin got on the end of it, but the offside flag will deny him the chance to go forward. Jackson Martin, one to keep an eye out for. Another Princeton player, formerly played in MLS Next with Sacramento Republic, led the entire country in scoring when he did. Played as a number 9 traditional striker in college, but also played some time this past season out wide. And that's where he starts tonight.
Coach's dream, to have someone who's willing to change their roles for the side, and also they have the ability to play multiple roles.
His head coach, Blaise Santangelo, described him as a terrier. Never stops running, never stops fighting for the ball. 18 years of age and plays with incredible heart. Diash on the Trivella, trying to find his former Revolution teammate Jack Panayotu in behind. Good ball on the near side for Hormozy. Early cross and a great save. My goodness, Ethan Bandre stands on his head to deny Ridge Robinson. Second opportunity sent in. Bandre punches and goes down. Referee had a look and play goes on. Loudon on the counter, if only for a moment.
Exactly what Westchester wanted. They break down the sides, a quick burst by Hormozy, and he just squares it across one time into the corridor of uncertainty.
It's the two former Tigers connecting. It was, in fact, Jackson Martin on the doorstep. Nearly got his chance, and right on cue, like a traditional 9 does, tucking inside for the cross.
I tell you what, Ethan Bandre, that is a heck of a goal. We always talk about strikers scoring goals on one end. What about goalkeepers like that who keep the score at 1-0? That's as good as a goal on the other end.
100%. That is exactly why he was brought to Loudoun United this season. Made 5 saves against the defending champions on Saturday. 3-2 contest. Loudoun took the lead against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but were unable to find the second equalizer. Adnan. Young, who scored the second goal, coughs it up. Black shirts flying forward for the hosts. Martin with the ball into the 18-yard box and squared it across. The run wasn't made in time.
You like what Martin was trying to do, just try to slip it inside for a better look. However, everyone on the field, including his teammates, thought he should have taken responsibility and try and find that far corner.
Again, Jackson Martin, just 18 years of age, and has really been a bright spot for the hosts thus far. It seems like there's no fear about him when he picks up the ball.
The confidence of youth is unbounding.
So another set piece for Westchester United in a very similar spot to the one we saw a few minutes ago. This delivery sent much deeper to the back post, and Bandre managed to get a hold of it.
Now the scouting report on Bandre is he's very good in traffic, cross balls. He takes a lot of pressure off of his centre backs and his defenders when the ball goes out wide.
Sunehara, good poise to keep the ball. Meller looks long. Constant communication from that Loudon back line, and in the end, able to get the job done.
Well, it's the old grizzled Akinyoti back there just in front of Bandry. And even though the ball bounced, which is a nightmare for centre-backs, all of a sudden you're facing your own goal with a hungry striker behind you. Akinyoti just taking the sting out of it.
That's what you get with 288 USL Championship appearances under his belt. And that barely cracks the top 10.
Crazy.
Absolutely incredible. Loudon slowly moving forward here. Getting those wingbacks up, as you mentioned. Robinson forced to check back, loses one, denies another. Young with the line-breaking pass. Diash onside, looking for support. Might try and go it alone. Diash looking for the brace, and a tap in on the doorstep to make it 2. Elvis Amo, the recipient for Marcos Diash's cross. The two combined for the first and combined for the second.
Well, Diaz is drawing a crowd, and his final product, what we talked about, the final shot, the final pass, is right on cue. He scored with a toe poke from here for the first. This time squares it across the danger area, and there was Amo. He's going to buy Diaz dinner tonight. Beautiful pass for number 2.
This is exactly what the U.S. Open Cup is for teams like Loudon. Both Marcos Diash
in the 21st minute
and Elvis Amo only saw 10 minutes last week against the defending champions. They're fighting for their spot in the first 11 in the rotation. And head coach Anthony Limbrick said, watch out tonight for the hunger that this side plays with. These are guys that want to be consistent starters from now until winter time. And both Diash and Amo certainly playing like it.
You know, after the harsh loss to Pittsburgh, which is always a tough place to start your season, the confidence may have been a little bit down. To have this scoreline right now, 21 minutes, take a picture, 21 minutes in, the confidence is coming back up. The players on the sidelines are seeing the ball to go into the back of the net. They're getting confident. They want to get on the field. Just what the doctor ordered for this Loudon team.
And
now,
already pressing for more.
On the other side, Westchester, when you've seen the ball go in the back of the net to your team, confidence, all that confidence you had coming into tonight's match, thinking the upsets on the card, you're going to do everything to make life difficult for Loudon. All of a sudden, that lack of confidence now is starting to sink in.
Well, you spoke about that Ethan Bandre save earlier, how different of a game this would be if Jackson Martin found the back of the net. As a player is down for Loudon, and the trainer will be motioned on. Looks like Salvatore Montefiore requires just a bit of attention.
Well, he's usually a very, very physical defender himself, Montefiore. This time, remember, this is artificial turf. When you fall, and you know what? When he landed, it looked like he turned something. And those are the worst type of injuries.
Montefiore joining from Atlanta United's second team. Made his debut for the first team, the Leagues Cup last year against Atlas. Formerly an MLS Next Pro champion with Austin FC2. Came up through the Toronto FC Academy. Just 24 years of age. Went the distance on Saturday in his Loudon United debut.
Phil, I tell you what, that's the hamstring they're working on here. What I know of hamstring injuries, they don't just pop back in within 120 seconds. So we hope Montefiore can get back onto his feet, but boy, that would hurt Loudon very much to have their centre-back who started the match against Pittsburgh this weekend very much in their plans, in their defensive units with Akinyoti in front of Bandry. If he goes down at this time of the year, then you have to call onto somebody from the bench in a position that's very sensitive. It's like a goalkeeping position, the centre-back position. It's a lot of reps, it's a lot of bonding and gelling, positioning and reacting, that's it. So to have someone coming off the bench to then pick up those traits is always very hard compared to like a winger or a centre midfielder.
So a little bit past the halfway point of the first half, and this is how we got here. It was a lightning quick start for Loudon and a first goal for Loudoun United for Marcos Diaz.
The finish was sublime. The toe poke in the far corner had South American all over it.
And then he was the creator for the second goal in the 21st minute. Time, space, daylight. Goes one-on-one against his mark, and it's a picture-perfect cross.
He saw Amo in his peripheral. He saw that white shirt encroaching, and he put it right where only the striker could get it. He drew the keeper, he drew the centre-back, and then Amo did the rest.
So Salvatore Mazzaferro will be helped off the pitch. Hopefully nothing too serious for the young Canadian centre-back. There is only one defender listed of the 5 substitutes tonight for Loudoun United, but it is Kwame Owuah, a man who needs no introduction.
30 years of age, but he also plays midfield as well, like a defensive midfielder, so he's a wily old veteran that knows his way around the Ds and the center circles. So Owuah is just the perfect customer to come inside now, use that experience, and plug that gap.
He was third on the team in assists in 2025 and 2024. Likes to play on that left side, so maybe the perfect fit. Referee sounds the whistle for the substitution to be made. And it is, in fact, Kwame Owuah who will enter the fray.
So it does look like Owuah is going to play left centre-back with Adnan stepping onto the right shoulder of Akinyodi. So Adnan, Akinyodi, and Owuah.
Loudon substitution in the 26th minute, leaving the match number 5.
It's an interesting look for Loudoun United after playing for the back
number 26,
against Pittsburgh.
Kwame Owuah.
Trying a different philosophy. You mentioned earlier, Ryan, the dimensions of the pitch and the way Westchester plays, certainly a factor in that as well, but that is what separates good from great teams, is the ability to play different styles, different formations, and still have that chemistry to get the job done.
Yeah, when you have class players like Diaz and Amo up top, they can exploit any sort of space that's given to them. Diaz is a veteran. He pulled out wide rather than stayed in the middle of the park. That's where he found his space. That's where he causes most havoc.
Well, one in midfield, Martin trying to get it back to Hermosi, who intercepted it. Instead out to the far side. Thomas with another probing cross to the back post. Nobody had made the run in time. Scratch that. Hermosi keeping it in and sent back in by Sunehara. Westchester keeping the pressure on. Thomas again looking to dance. 2 defenders in his wake. Back for the captain, Robinson. Thomas against Piras goes down. Referee says goal kick.
Luke Thomas, don't ever change. I love the fact when he gets the ball, didn't look back inside, didn't give up responsibility. It didn't work out here. But as a coach, you want to see your players being aggressive, taking responsibility. Luke Thomas's first cross was a peach at the back post. No black shirts followed up. But when he got it back again, he tried to be positive. That's exactly what a coach wants from your white players.
Thomas, the Charlotte, North Carolina native, played his college ball with Duke, the team that upset Princeton in the second round of last year's NCAA tournament.
Love it.
Excellent sliding challenge by Breens. Surveys the scene, looks to the far side, and Westchester have numbers here. This is Jackson Martin, sits a defender down, but ran out of daylight.
The recovery was fantastic between Adnan and Akinwodi, but Breens in the middle of the park, that was just special. to break up the play with a sliding tackle to hook it, and then the next pass, a line-splitting pass to create an opportunity.
Another great ball, this time by Sunahara, cut back in front, able to be dealt with for now, but since conceding that second goal, Westchester have responded brilliantly.
Well, Awua just came onto the pitch. He's trying to find his bearings. And this back line, it's like a, you know when you go into a nursery with plants?
Breen's now. Another ball sent in, fought for at the back post, and it was Bardia Hormozi laying out for it. Difficult one to keep on target.
When you had Adnan, when you had Akinwuri, and you had Mazafero, it was a living, breathing organism. Everybody was in sync. Everybody's moving together, shoulder to shoulder. The lines are nice and tight. Now, it's just going to take a little while, like we talked about, a tough position just to switch out. It's all about rhythm and what you see. And to stick Awua just back into the center, at the center-back position, it makes sense, of course, but actually in the middle of the game, it's really hard to integrate in a matter of minutes, and you're starting to see a couple holes in the back line just for now until Awua finds his legs and finds his rhythm.
I think that was a metaphor worth waiting for.
Yes, thank you. Today is St. Patrick's Day, Green Nursery.
Right. 15 minutes to go in the first half, still 2-0 Loudon United, courtesy of Marcos Dias and Elvis Amo. Westchester, the lone team from the Philadelphia region in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup this year. A city with incredible ties to this competition. Bethlehem Steel with 5 Open Cups, tied for most of any team. You go all the way back to the 60s with the Philadelphia Ukraine Nationals.
Love it.
They had 6 amateur titles, 4 U.S. Open Cups, and now for head coach Blaise Santangelo, he says to be considered in the conversation with those 2 clubs with Westchester United is an incredible honor.
Philly royalty, and that's what this cup brings to life. It does bring the royalty of soccer in this country up to the surface every single year. Don't give me all the new toys of all the new League Cups and all that stuff. Give me the old stuff that works, that's 111 years old. Now we're talking.
Another early whistle. Referee Stephen Foster doing a really good job of managing the game thus far. It's been physical, but nothing totally out of sorts.
Especially like we talked about with a very narrow field. It's going to be a lot of bumping, a lot of players not finding space, so there will be some fouls to be dished out.
We've seen some set-piece opportunities in the final third thus far for Westchester. A lot of talented dribblers in this side willing to go right at defenders and try and make something happen. First, they've got to get back. It's Pirash breaking free. Low cross dealt with by Breens.
Well, thank God for the trees. That ball would have ended up in a different part of Philly. But it's the first time we've called Piraj's name on that right-hand side. Looks like Diaz has been stealing the headlines for the opening 30 minutes. And it's a chance for Loudon. No more Mazafero with the long throws. We have a new customer.
Everyone in the box. Once again, we saw a couple free headers from the corner kicks for Loudon United. Sent short of the near post and headed almost right back to sender before Breens intercepts and gives it away. A shot from way out, almost finding the top left corner. It was Jack Penayotu who thought about it and wasn't that far off.
That was not too far off, like you said. He's so clever, Penayotu. Just exactly what Loudon wants from him. Trickery and some audacious attempts. You don't mind that. A coach loves to see that positivity.
Jack Penayotu, a native of Cambridge, Massachusetts, just outside of downtown Boston.
Is Penayotu a Greek name?
I believe he is Greek and Cypriot, if I've done
okay.
my research correctly.
It sounds Greek. I went to Greece this last summer. I tell you what, Penayotu, you have a fantastic country.
I'm sure they'd love some Greek weather in Philly right about now.
Yeah, and a Greek salad.
Just below freezing as the sun goes down. Sunahara looking for the overlap, wasn't quite on. Kwame Awua, since coming on, has already been tasked with a lot of responsibility. Looks like a better response now from Loudon after that 10 minutes or so of sustained Westchester pressure after conceding the second.
Yeah, Westchester, give them some credit. They could have hung their heads, but they stayed compact, stayed in that diamond formation. Here comes the four, trying to push them towards the sidelines. Loudon gets out of trouble, and now they can expose the space.
Panayotu for Diash. Robinson nearly picked it up. It was Liam Beckwith fighting for it and wins the throw. One of the greatest rivalries in women's international soccer is coming to Seattle. The U.S. women's national team returns to Lumen Field for the first time in nearly a decade, facing Japan on Tuesday, April 14th. World Cup finals, Olympic thrillers, iconic moments. This rivalry has delivered it all, and now it's coming to the Pacific Northwest. Get tickets today at ussoccer.com/tickets.
You know, to play a diamond formation in this on artificial turf, narrow formation, your street ball skills has to be so good. And this Westchester team, I look at the four midfielders operating. They have such a good touch on the ball, great control, and they're so confident just maneuvering the ball to each other.
Robinson urged forward.
Beautiful.
Another good ball in behind for Diash. Goalkeeper has come out to claim, and the toe poke is just wide. Marcos Diash denied his brace by a fraction.
Well, he's tucked inside to a left attacking midfield or left winger, just playing behind the forward. And he's making fantastic runs, whether it's outside towards the wing to find space for people like Amo to go into towards the center, or he becomes the center forward, in which he just narrowly missed, like you said, his second goal.
Marcos Diash in MLS Next Pro, best 11 selection last year, New England Revolution 2's all-time leader in goals and assists over the half-century mark combined.
Wow. Well, he may have found a comfortable home in Loudon because he looks at ease, giving the midfield a moving target so far in the first 37 minutes. And that also, performances like this, coaches, it registers in coaches' minds, and it may give him a shout this weekend.
When Coach Anthony Lindbergh spoke on the depth of this team, it was Thor Utharsen, who is available off the bench tonight, scoring the first goal of the season against Pittsburgh. Sean Young had the second all the way from midfield with a very well-taken goal. But players like Elvis Amo, like Marcos Diash, even Jack Panayotu in the final third, all have their shooting boots with them.
You just saw another snippet of how confident they are on the ball, Westchester, with that throw-in in a very tight space. They got out of it, got a cross in. It's just good signals, good signs that you're seeing within the game.
Our first touch, and onto it is Jackson Martin. Martin playing the pass one more time for Robinson. Bandry standing tall again. That's two massive saves for number 41 for Loudoun United.
Well, Jackson Martin pulled all of the heavy weight here. He won the tackle, and he turned the tackle into an attack. And that Bandry, look at the foot save. You know what, forget Jackson for a second. That foot save by Bandry, let's talk about it. We talked about the reflex save to keep it 1-0. This to keep it 2-0. Remember, the 2-0 scoreline in this sport is very tricky. Westchester gets a goal here, it's 2-1. Going into the halftime at 2-1 rather than 2-0 is an entirely different conversation. Bandry again, keeping the score at 2-0, keeping this defense nice and tight, and giving his coach a lot to smile about.
Final few minutes of the first half, Westchester United knocking on the door, and Martin wastes no time getting the ball back into play. Beckwith unable to find a teammate in a black shirt. I know we've said his name a number of times now, but Jackson Martin really making a case for himself. Again, just 18 years old and one of the bright spots for the home side thus far. Panayotu on the give and go. The cross had some air, almost looping toward goal. It looked like the shadow of the ball may have danced on the crossbar for a second. Instead goes out for a throw-in.
Let's talk more about Jackson Martin. So many times scouts can't travel to Westchester to see players. This is a stage for him to show his skills, which he is doing. It gives a chance for scouts to take a look, take a chance on him. Perfect scenario.
Again, 10 players from Westchester United's 2025 side signing pro contracts, not only in the United States, but in Europe, across the world.
Amazing.
A 5-goal thriller in the first round between these two teams last year. And there may be more here for Loudon. Good ball in. Sent only as far as James Murphy. Piras. Dias with a clever turn. 2 defenders in tow.
Well, he's playing like a true number 10, Dias. He's one time on the left-hand side, now he's drifted to the right-hand side.
Ball just beyond Elvis Hamo.
Oh, what a touch by Akinwumi.
Clever play, opens it up for Sean Young. Has time to pick his cross out. May have underhit it. And again, it's Martin winning it. So Ryan, if you're head coach Blaise Santangelo, 5 minutes left plus stoppage in the first half, down 2 goals, what's your message in the locker room?
I don't think he changed much. First and foremost, this is his strongest lineup. And I love the 4-4-2 diamond. Because it's a narrow field, they're not giving up the center circle. They're battling out there. Loudon is doing a great job coming out wide with their wide players and controlling the possession that way. But they've created 2 fantastic chances in which Bandry stopped them on the line or just off the line. You've done exactly what you came out to do, create chances, and you did that. So I don't think you changed much in the second half. Maybe fresh legs in the diamond.
Piras, low cross. Hamo blocked by Sunahara at the near post for a goal kick. The U.S. women's national team will conclude its 3-match series against Japan on Friday, April 17th in Commerce City, Colorado, featuring the last 2 She Believes Cup champions. This top 10 matchup takes place on a special Hello Kitty themed night at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Secure your tickets today at ussoccer.com/tickets. Dias surveys the scene, likes what he sees to the far side. Piras brings it down, great first touch, still work to do. Plenty of white shirts in the box, difficult to try and get them the ball, and in the way is Luke Thomas. Murphy. Hamo all the way back. James Murphy again with a split ball. Really good link-up play. Dias can finish it off. It's Marcos Dias. Moves it along one more time. And the sliding challenge comes off of Grant Robinson.
I love the run by Dias, but Sunahara did not bite on the fake whatsoever. He stayed in front of Dias. Look at this recovery by the number 23. He stays right, it does not bite. Stays in front of Dias's right foot, forces him to the left, and then the slide tackle to win the goal kick. 1v1 defending at its best.
Okay, Sunahara flexing his defensive muscle, but also can get it done in the final third. Grabbed a game-winning assist in the Ivy League semifinals and finals for Princeton. Panayotu with the low try. Right back to him, this time trying to share the wealth, and it's out for a corner via Thomas.
This gives a chance for Akinwumi to come into the 6-yard box to pressure Samuels. Perfect chance for Loudon now to try to go 3 up. Mazzaferro, of course, injured off the field. You don't have that 6-footer there. But Akinyuri for sure is going to be licking his lips.
Jack Panayotu to deliver. A lot of airtime on it, and the free header was right to Elvis Amo, and it's over the bar by some margin.
Great delivery, just in front of the 6-yard box. And Amo has to steer that in. You take a second look at that, and that's a free header in front of the penalty spot. That one's going to hurt tonight.
Again, we see the breakdown on the man marking for the set pieces for Westchester. And a bit of an Achilles heel tonight.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 4 minutes of added time to the first
4
half.
minutes tacked on to the end of this first half. Young breezes by 1. Sinehara recovering.
Beautiful.
Now Sean Young out of position. Great turn. And Robinson, unfortunate on the back heel to not connect.
But Phil, they're so brave. They're taking chances, even in their own half, which I don't recommend. But I love the spirit of the US Open Cup, and I love the spirit of Westchester.
That was a great move. If that pass comes off, it's likely 2-1. Plenty of time before that halftime whistle for Westchester to cut into the deficit. Maybe a gift here to do that now for Martin. Quick throw, poked along into midfield. Breen's back for Sinehara. Searching ball. Bandre is out for it and manages to snag it.
What a half he's had. We never thought we would say that with Loudon being, of course, the championship team. But Ethan Bandre, despite this scoreline here, 2-0, yes, Loudon has played fantastic. Diaz and Amo linking up for the first 2 goals, but Bandre has kept this scoreline where it is at 2-0. And that deserves a round of applause in the dressing room at halftime.
Still about 2 minutes to go until the half. Young.
Bandre had quite the season last year with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. 17 matches just in the championship alone.
A man who has come up through the U.S. soccer pyramid in 2021. Was a USL League 2 champion with the Des Moines Menace, storied club in that league. Another good ball in behind, this time for Breens. Trying to pick out the cross, and it took a deflection. Still a half chance maybe for Westchester. Picked up by Sinehara. Flag stays down.
Beautiful.
Great feet from Hermosi. Still bouncing around. Hermosi almost gets there. But Bandre again to the rescue.
It didn't work out, but look at the bravery by Hermosi, just taking on players. White shirts are being left in his wake.
Look at the space afforded to Elvis Amo. He lost it rather quickly, though. Westchester still have numbers in the attacking half. Hermosi. Hermosi trying to turn, is brought down. Referee says no. Big challenge right at the top of the box. Ryan, what do you think?
Well, he ran into the Great Wall of Akinwodi. That's what happened. And he felt the effects. That was perfectly fine. You allowed some physicality. Let's call it hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder. And Hermosi was always going to finish second best in that contest.
Stood up into the box, had it down one more time. And Luca Meller fluffed his lines. Robinson still with it at a difficult angle. Gets another cross away, and this one is out of play.
Again, the adventure. Again, taking chances, getting players forward. They stay so close together in the middle of the park, and they're also good with their feet. So they go 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and they start carving out this Loudon defense. And you just want that finishing product. You want that last, I believe it was Mellor who came up and just couldn't find that last shot.
Last play of the first half. Loudon just trying to get it clear. Piros will make sure of it. The whistle sounds after 45 minutes and change. It is Loudon United with the 2-goal advantage over Westchester United. Ryan, your thoughts?
I think Loudon United did a great job at the beginning of the first half to take that 1-0 lead. They then used their natural width with their 3-4-3 formation, and Diaz really made use of the space that he had on the far left, creating one, scoring one. But Westchester hung in there, they stuck with it, and they created chances of their own.
So 2 goals at the interval. 2 first-time goal scorers for Loudon, but Westchester right in it. We'll have the second half in just a little bit. See you soon. Welcome back to Philadelphia. 2-0 at the interval between Loudon United and Westchester United. Alongside Ryan Davis and Philip Galati. 2 goals at the half, but it could have been a lot more. Ryan, it was a back and forth performance.
Yeah, both of these teams playing offensively, playing open, exactly what we wanted in the US Open Cup. And they've been the perfect scenario. 2-0 for Loudon.
Well, you talk about perfect scenarios, a perfect start for Loudon in the white and red. Only a few minutes on the board. In fact, the 3rd minute of the match. And it's Elvis Amo finding Marcos Diaz in behind.
The finish was sublime. Amo was so unselfish. He did a great job with the hold-up play. But Diaz just running off of his shoulder. And the toe poke was immaculate.
Those 2 names combining again for the 2nd goal, but not before Westchester brings some life into the match. And then a header from Sean Young off the post. So unlucky to not get that 2nd goal, but Loudon would not have to wait too long. Westchester, though, again, right back in it. This was one of 2 major saves from Ethan Bandre.
And then Diaz again finding that space. This time he was a sharer rather than a scorer. And there's Amo on the doorstep.
Both of the players scoring their 1st goal for their new club in the 1st half. But again, Westchester stepped on the gas pedal after the 20th minute, down 2, and fought hard for the last 25 minutes of the 1st half.
Which I thought was terrific. They really stayed with it. Here, this is a shot from Rauda that just went wide. And another chance here for Diaz. They couldn't make it 3. But again, this Westchester team stayed compact and they created chances for Bandre to save again. And they've had a great value, even though they haven't scored so far.
Those 2 shots on target, again, 2 really good saves. We could be talking about a totally different game if not for Ethan Bandre, but possession almost right down the middle.
Well, we expected Loudon to have just an edge because of their 3-4-3 possession type formation and the ball handlers that they have. And this diamond formation wants to counter-attack, and the fact that they've had 5 shots is a win against a championship team like Loudon.
No cautions as of yet. It was a physical game. Nothing too out of sorts thus far. But as you mentioned, going into halftime, Ryan, I asked you what you would say to your side if your head coach plays Sant'Angelo for Westchester United. And you mentioned just keep doing what you're doing.
Positivity. I mean, it's so easy to let your head drop. But the fact that you had to bring 2 big saves out of Bandre, it just shows that you can get behind this Loudon defense. If they keep attacking in between that space by Awua and the left midfielder, I think it was Robinson, if you keep attacking that gap, and then Adnan and the other one, Piras, the right wing back and the right centre back, there's a little gap there in between those 2 sides. That's where they're getting players like Martin and also Hermosi to come through and square the ball across for the forwards such as Robinson, Slack, and Martin when he overlaps.
Well, Jackson Martin, for those who missed the 1st half, had an incredible 45 minutes.
He was great. He was actually working hard defensively, and then when he won the ball back, he did something with it. We always talk about the final product, that final pass, the shot on goal after you do all the hard work, and Martin was 10 out of 10.
As we mentioned earlier, 2-0 can be the most dangerous lead in this sport, some say.
Sure, yeah, I mean, it's just enough for Loudon to take their foot off the gas, start thinking about the weekend, and it's just enough for Westchester said, you know what, we're right there, let's give it everything for the next 25 minutes and see what happens.
Westchester United booked their spot in this tournament with an incredible 120th minute header in Milwaukee last summer at the USASA National Championships, the first Philadelphia team to win it in 51 years. Just this past weekend, and we're down to 10 men. They came back from 4-3 down in the 94th minute to win the Eastern Pennsylvania Robert O'Neill Amateur Cup. This is a team that knows how to fight.
They do, and we love that about it. And they understand the moment, Phil. They understand this stage. They're not going to get these moments again for the rest of the year. The US Open Cup. So the next 45 minutes, well, let's break it down. Next 15 minutes is everything for Westchester. They want to try to get 1 goal back in that time, and then they could start thinking about the rest of the second half.
There were 160 kids that came through the teams every summer in the various leagues, 12 months a year for Westchester United. These 11 find themselves 2-0 down with a full 45 to play, and momentum is plenty abound on home soil. Loudon on the left side of your screen in the white, Westchester on the right in the black. All eyes on Stephen Foster, the man in blue, with the whistle. Final check on a very chilly night in Pennsylvania. Jack Panayotou will start things off. Remember the one change in the first half for Loudon United, Kwame Awua coming into the fray for his fellow Canadian Salvatore Mazzaferro at the back. Westchester United yet to make a change thus far.
You know, I want to correct a mistake I made with the highlights. It was Panayotou who came in from that right-hand side and almost found the top corner. Is that bit of trickery that Coach Limbrick wants throughout the season from Panayotou.
Jack Panayotou had 2 appearances in the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup for the New England Revolution back in 2023, just 18 years of age. Spent the last 3 seasons with various teams in the USL Championship, and now fighting for a spot in the first 11 with Loudon. Shot from distance, too much traffic. Young winning the rebound, and onto it is Grant Robinson. Loses his footing, and in turn possession.
You know, every time Loudon switches sides quickly, they change the point of attack, they will find that space because of the 4-4-2 narrow formation. And Robinson tried to make the most of it. An excellent cross. Didn't pay off, but it's always there if they can switch the point of attack quickly from one side to the other.
Half, leaving the match, number 39, Marcos Domingo Diaz, entering the match, number 9.
There is a change up top for Loudon United. Marcos Diaz, who had the opening goal, assisted the second, could have very nearly scored a third on the night for Loudon United. Replaced up top by Kimi Ordonez, on loan from FC Cincinnati. He's 4th on the team in scoring last year with 4 goals to his name.
He is one dangerous young striker. Sharp movements in the box. You know, there's a player I'm going to use. His name is Luis Suarez, and his movements is sharp and cutting, and those sorts of movements separate you from the defender. And if Ordonez has that sort of trait where he's compact and he's very efficient.
Chance for Panayotou maybe, but the whistle sounds and the flag goes up. That is high praise for Kimi Ordonez, a comparison to a Premier League Golden Boot winner.
Well, he's more than a Premier League Golden Boot winner. He's an absolute phenom, Luis Suarez. He's probably the best striker of his generation on this planet. But it's those qualities that I'm talking about Ordonez has, the sharp cuts and turns.
Ordonez scored his first ever professional goal in the US Open Cup against Lou City back on April 26th, 2023. Came up through the FC Cincinnati Academy when they made the jump to MLS. He was right there with them. Incredible story for him. Now in red and white, played the full 90 against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds on Saturday, and we'll get 45 here tonight. Liam Beckwith is the man over the set piece.
Great scenario again for Westchester, getting their centre backs up now. You have Mellor and Bogal up top, just hovering on that 18-yard line.
Swept in with the instep, and it's a disappointing cross. Second opportunity will spin out of play.
You know, it's the kind of thing that gives a coach an ulcer. You get your centre backs all the way up in attacking position. You have a dead ball scenario. You have to get some air under it and give your centre backs a chance to get their head on it. And you can't clear the first defender.
But at least with the goal kick, you have time to get the defenders back. We've seen Loudon United, the ability to play slow but play quickly as well.
Phil, I love the glass half full philosophy. That's fantastic.
That's what you have to do, down 2-0 in the US Open
You
Cup.
sure do.
Robinson again, former Monterey Bay man, seen a lot of the ball on that left side for Loudon.
First time we're seeing Luke Thomas really in a defensive posture. We've seen him so many times in the first half, taking the ball up that left-hand side and trying to create.
Ordonez moved along for Young. Back for Kimi Ordonez, who goes to strike. Lost his balance.
Well, he looks like a forward that just came onto the pitch. Didn't seem sharp enough to strike the ball towards goal.
Martin started the move, was upset he didn't get it back, but maybe a chance now. Hormozy on a tear. Stopped in his tracks by Luca Piras.
We saw Hormozy did such a good job on the right-hand side in the first half. This time he's on the left, so he's going to be looking inside for players like Slack and Robinson rather than crossing to them.
Bardia Hormozy, another Princeton player, second on the team points last year. Trained in the preseason a few weeks ago with Minnesota United.
So how many Princeton players is that?
5.
It's a very smart lineup, is it?
Very.
Very, very bright squad.
And this is a Princeton team that was the #3 team in the country going into the national tournament, undefeated in Ivy League play, first conference championship in school history. It's a solid team.
I wonder if they could challenge Loudon to like a math test after this. I bet they win.
I think they would win handedly.
I think so.
But Coach Blaise Santangelo mentioned it. These guys played upwards of 50, 60 games together, and now they slot into this lineup knowing their tendencies, knowing what they want with the ball at their feet, where they want the passes fed to them. It's a huge plus.
And it shows the little things to get behind this Loudon defense. It's not easy. And players like Thomas and Jackson Martin, so too Hormozy, Breens and Beckwith have done a great job.
Ordonez looking for shooting space, gets it back from Panayotou. Kimi Ordonez, great sliding effort by Andrew Samuels to deny him the real estate.
Well, it was such tight space to try and carve something out. Little 1-2s on top of the box. And in the end, Ordonez, by the time he turned, Samuel was right there at the ball.
And the things that stick out to me, Ryan, is the unselfishness of Loudon in this second half. We saw with the move just a few minutes ago where Ordonez couldn't find his shooting boots, that every player is making a dummy or an extra pass, and there seems to be a real sense of team unity with a team that only came together a few weeks ago, had a short preseason, and won USL Championship match together under their belt.
Well, Coach Limbrick, he wants a possession type formation. Rather than go direct over the top, it has to be short passes. So the sharing is caring sort of philosophy has to be on display tonight. You have to make that extra pass or make that extra run to get open and get between the cracks.
Panayotou goes over, but it looked like a clean challenge from Hamid Bogle. And again, that team philosophy coming into play. It's exactly why head coach Anthony Limbrick took the job at Loudon this year. Told us earlier this week he was so impressed with the vision of the club, the togetherness when he first got to Loudon. On Saturday, a hard-fought game against the defending champions. End up on the wrong side of a 5-goal scoreline, but still gets to see the fans for the first time. He said he was so impressed with how many families were there, how many young soccer players were there aspiring to be like the players they watched in front of him. Panayotou goes down, referee waves advantage. Young for Robinson, and again, Ahmed Bogle in the way.
Great no call by the referee.
Young, second ball, met by Martin.
Oof.
No chance for a third from Murphy. Westchester gonna try and break again, and there's daylight on this near side. Bardia Hormozy, one-on-one, onto his right. Hormozy nearly finds the side netting.
Well, we asked the question, what would he be like on the left rather than the right? He's a provider on the right-hand side. He's a goal scorer on the left. Comes inside full of technique, gets his laces right through it. I think Bandry would have had it, but you love the effort by Hormozy. It lifts the spirit of this Westchester team, and the belief now gets even higher.
Both sides flexing competitive spirit in this second half. Nobody backing down. Loudon certainly not keen to rest on a 2-goal lead. Ordonez working all the way back. Panayotou once again. Patient play from the visitors. Awua, tough touch from Ordonez, but manages to work it free.
Oh, beautiful.
Lovely one-touch passing. And then Panayotu winning it right back for Loudon.
But every so often, Westchester executes the little 1-2s, those sort of rondos in the middle of the park. That seems to be their identity.
Westchester United, 5 national championships since 2015, 4 in the last 4 years. And that is far from the only silverware they've won. Multiple regional titles and other amateur cups. It is a stacked silverware case on the home grounds.
And very smart players as well. Princeton, 5.
24 players signing professional contracts around the world in just the last decade for Westchester United alumni. Ridge Robinson does well. The corral it goes over. Referee says no.
I thought there was enough there to get the free kick. But Ridge Robinson, with all of his touch and his class, just seems to be a half step off the pace tonight so far.
Westchester United tonight, an average age in the starting 11 of 23. Ridge Robinson is 32, so flip it. The head coach, Blaise Santangelo, says someone who, plain and simple, loves the game, takes care of his body really well, and ever since he came to the club a number of years ago, as we mentioned earlier, that trophy cabinet is running out of room.
Well, you want that veteran presence somewhere, and the fact that he just drops off that front line and sort of partners Beckwith when Beckwith comes forward, it really allows them a little bit of a partnership to create some 1-2s and then create space for people out wide with 2 ball handlers in the middle.
Martin turns his mark. Jackson Martin one more time. Martin again wanted shooting space, tried to ward off the defender, and Panayotu races in the other direction.
It's the second time this match we've seen Jackson Martin just take the easy way out. In that instance, there's nowhere for the forward to go if he makes that forward pass like we saw. He has to have it. He has to try to be a little bit more greedy or greedier and have a shot on goal.
Loudon United setting up shop now in the final third. Awua.
Westchester understanding there's still a lot of football to be played. Not committing too high up the field.
Murphy for Young, for Robinson now. It's been a while since we've seen Loudon connect this many passes. Not only the accuracy, but also the patience from this side.
Yeah, and usually Westchester County are right up in their hip pockets trying to dispossess them. But I think also that all that energy that was exerted in the first half maybe starting to dwindle just a little in the second with 30 minutes to go.
Adnan. Akinyode. Line breaking ball. Amo has to settle it. Manages to do so. Still relentless pressure from Westchester. Amo once again. Searching ball to the near side. Piras has space to the top of the key. Ordonez drags it just wide.
Love the effort. Very small window to work in. The technique was there. This is what the coach is looking for. How sharp is he? And it was always curling wide of that last post, but you love it. You love the fact that Ordonez is willing to take the effort.
On May 31st, Charlotte, North Carolina welcomes the U.S. men's national team for the All-State Continental Classico against Senegal. Get your first look at the nation's biggest stars before they head to the FIFA World Cup this summer. The match kicks off at Bank of America Stadium at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tickets are available now at ussoccer.com/tickets. Change of pace now as a free kick is awarded for Loudon United. Jack Panayotu was the dead ball specialist for the side.
I think it's a very awkward spot, Phil. It's too far. I mean, of course you can try to test the goalkeeper. It's too close to chip it over the top. You don't have much real estate to work with, and too far for a shot.
Peniotu just lofts it. Time to take it down, cross it back in front. I think that may have come off of Luca Meller last, but the flag goes up for offside. It's chalked off.
Looks like it may have been Akinyori who peeled off a little too quickly before Peniotu can find him.
Westchester right the other way. Martin pops right back up. Whistle doesn't sound. Robinson, the skipper. 2 defenders in front of him and has to turn away from battle.
Good
Beckwith
delivery.
sends it in. Strong header at the first post. Now a bit of drama in the first round of the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup.
Yeah, encouraging signs though for Westchester. Yeah, this was the offside. He peeled away a little too quickly, Aquinori. Good ball back in. He took his time, he took a touch because he had the time and just drove it across the goal for an own goal. However, he beat the gun, he jumped the gun. Hence he was on the offside call.
So Luca Meller saved his blushes. But again, we talked in the first half, especially from the corner kicks, about the lack of set piece marking for Westchester United. As they've made a change with Roka Sunehara at the back coming off for August Axtman. Great ball to the back post, nobody there just yet. A double change, in fact, as Owen Slack up top replaced for Troy Amspatcher.
Westchester substitution.
I think that's a great call. With 30 minutes to go, get some fresh legs up top. Robinson did a great job, so too Slack. I think Robinson's still there. Slack, actually. And you need, remember, pressing the ball is also a form of attack. So to have those fresh legs, such as Amspatcher up there to try and cause some havoc and make some runs off the ball, is a great target for the midfielders.
Martin into the box, pulling it back. Robinson denied shooting space.
Still yet to get a corner, huh? Westchester.
Another good ball in. Falls to Amspatcher and blocked in front. Second opportunity for Bogle. And then Bardia Hormozi into traffic. Westchester continuing to fire the ball again and again. Troy Amspatcher with the best look, and it's a smart substitution from head coach Blaise Santangelo. The last time Westchester United progressed past the first round, Troy Amspatcher scored the lone goal in regulation. 1-1 draw with FC Baltimore, and Westchester United would win on penalties. Set up towards Martin. Robinson there as well. Appeals for handball. Didn't look like much of anything in there.
Well, a chance for Westchester to draw Loudon out a bit now. They're so compact back there. Unless they get the wing backs to come forward, like Shunahira and Luke Thomas, to come out wide and provide some width.
So 2 changes now made for both coaches. 3 more available on either side of midfield. Young gets a lucky break and can't get around Luca Meller. Now Meller telling Hormozi to turn. Unselfish ball towards Robinson, and he's going to get there. It's Ridge Robinson! Head and hands after an excellent look at goal.
The first touch was immaculate, a cushion of a trap off the left shoulder. He brought it down in stride, but his shot was like Phil's golf shot on a golf course, spliced wide and went far, far away.
Not wrong. Not wrong at all. just leaned back as he went to hit it. It's such a difficult technique, too, with the outside of the boot.
Are you talking about the golf shot, or are you talking about Robinson's effort on goal?
Beckwith's ball intercepted. Who else but Jackson Martin right on top of it. Thought about a go, 25 yards out. Another physical challenge. But no whistle once again.
Again, the ball control and the first touch of these Westchester players on point again.
Looping delivery, glance down, right at the feet of Amspatcher, to the byline. Still alive. Hormozy trying to go to work and does enough for the corner kick.
Well, anytime somebody gets to the byline, you only have two choices. Either you square it back on top of the penalty spot, or you go to the last post. This time, Amspatcher tried to find someone coming in at the last post. No black shirts there, but you love the pressure by Westchester.
Played short, blocked once again. A great fake on the second opportunity, and another brave body in front. Robinson trying to get it away from danger. Thomas right back into the mixer. Akinyote away. Pinballing around, another player goes down, and this time it will be a free kick.
I'm always saying that he got the ball, but the shoulder into the back is what the referee's looking at. Look at right there. That is a free kick every day of the week and twice on Sundays. And it was Axman who came in, drew the free kick, and now the first dead ball scenario in a dangerous spot we've seen in quite some time for Westchester. And instead, it's Hormozy that's going to get a chance to maybe test Bandre in goal.
Well, with the way Ethan Bandre is playing tonight, it will take something special to beat him from this sort of range.
It's going to have a lot of whip and a lot of curl, Phil.
Bardia Hormozy from 30 yards out, and it's just over the bar.
Love the efforts. It had the whip, just didn't have the dip to go along with it.
One of the greatest rivalries in women's international soccer is coming to Seattle. The U.S. women's national team returns to Lumen Field for the first time in nearly a decade, facing Japan on Tuesday, April 14th. World Cup finals, Olympic thrillers, iconic moments. This great rivalry has delivered it all. Now it's coming to the Pacific Northwest. Get tickets today at ussoccer.com/tickets. Ordonez wards off the pressure. It's Jack Panayotu! Right at Andrew Samuels.
Well, you love that inventiveness, that adventure that Panayotu brings to the table. Coming in from this right-hand side, Coach Limbrick is going to lean on the youngster to do exactly that. In tight spaces to get shots off, to toe poke the ball to someone who has a clearer shot. Oh, lovely change of play.
Jackson Martin doing just enough to get the ball there. Incredible field vision for an 18-year-old. Amspatcher, low delivery, not yet dealt with. Looked like it may have come off the arm there, and the whistle does sound now. It looks like it will be a yellow card, the first of the night, for I believe Troy Amspatcher.
Well, loose balls, it doesn't belong to anyone. Whoever gets there first will win the ball. Whoever gets there second may be booked. Amspatcher was the one who arrived second to the party.
And again, just the lone yellow card thus far tonight.
The yellow card caution has been issued to Westchester's number 3, Troy Amspatcher, in the 68th minute.
Westchester were reduced to 10 men on Friday night. They still managed to rally from behind to win the Robert O'Neill Amateur Cup for the 5th time. First change for Loudoun United, as Grant Robinson is taken off in favor of Pedro Santos. Panayotu onto the loose ball. Tried to find Ordonez and was cut away, and it needed to be.
Melo read it like a book, and it was not a hard, it's a very hard book to read because Panayiotou was coming into the left and he wanted to reverse the pass to the right. So all of Miller's sort of his weight would be shifting with Panayiotou, but he read the pass and stopped it in a flash.
Referee says foul throw. Well, not a call you see made very often at this level. Perhaps it was Westchester's ball all along. Either way, restarted with Robinson.
Loudon substitution in the 69th minute, leaving the match. Number 15, Grant Robinson. Entering the match, number 10, Pedro Martins dos Santos. In the 69th
to the near side. Adnan first to it. Robinson trying to corral it. Gets it to Beckwith. Hormozi.
Don't look now, but the last 5 minutes have been all Westchester.
Still plenty of time to get back into this one. Beckwith. Martin was free. Still with Liam Beckwith. The two Tigers connect to keep it alive. Hormozi to the back post, and Bandre calls off the reinforcements.
But he's always willing to pull the trigger. He's always willing to ask the question, Hormozi. He wasn't there with his right foot. He pulled it back on his left. He put the ball in the danger area. Just that Ridge Robinson was not on the same page as him. Maybe he would have been on the same page 5 years ago. But at 32, he's like, you know what, youngster? I'm not going to make that run.
Loudon again barely having the ball for a few seconds there. As you mentioned, it's been all Westchester winning those ground duels, the 50-50 balls. They have the momentum with them. And
now Hormozi and Martin have tucked right inside. So the only width they're going to get is with Shunahira and Thomas.
Another whistle right at midfield, and there is a high stud there. It will be a yellow card for Ridge Robinson, who was a half-second late to it.
Well, when the ball is bouncing, if you come in cleats high, you're at the referee's mercy here. And Ridge Robinson raised those cleats. He just got a little piece, just a little piece, but it's the intent that's the problem. That's not one of you. If you're going to put in a challenge, you better get the ball. If not, you're going to be in trouble.
71st minute.
So the wording in the IFAB laws of the game for a yellow card is a reckless challenge. If it's careless, simple foul, reckless is the yellow card. And as you mentioned, there's not a ton of contact there, but when it's high like that, studs exposed.
You can't let that go as a referee.
Absolutely. Only 2 yellow cards thus far. Loudon with 2 goals, searching for their third. Good ball. Samuels claims.
I love the substitution of bringing on Santos, the Portuguese number 10.
Panayiotou. Amo.
Santos in number 10 for Loudon is going to bring a sense of calm in midfield and try to see out this 2-0 lead towards the end of the match.
Hormozi has Thomas on the overlap. Beckwith, Hormozi, acres of space off the crossbar, still alive, and Robinson puts it over, but the flag goes up anyways. So close to having the deficit, Bardia Hormozi.
He's been asking these questions all night long, Phil. A cracker that hits the crossbar, almost went on the other side of that goal line. Bandry is spared the blushes, and Hormozi has been the player of the match for me for Westchester for the first 73 minutes.
I mean, that looked like it bounced right on the line. How close can you get? But again, we spoke about the mentality of this Westchester side, the resilience. Can they use that momentum positively? Here's a Mo for Loudoun United. Santos taking great care of the ball.
Santos comes from a long line of creative players from Portugal. Rui Costa, Luis Figo, now Vitinha, who plays for PSG, They have that DNA in them.
Santos moving to the U.S. in 2020 with the Columbus Crew for what was then a club record fee. Was an MLS Cup champion, Campeones Cup winner for a few seasons with DC United.
Oh, I forgot Bernardo Silva.
There's so many names.
Portuguese.
Could be here all night.
Delicate midfielder. You know what? Don't get me started. I think I will.
Panayotou and Jackson Martin all smiles, asking for a jersey pull and expressing his chagrin at the decision. Final 15 minutes of play or so from Philadelphia. Panayotou. Donez sent back in front and away once again. Now it's Loudon starting to find their footing in the final third. Great movement by Santos. Awkward way to deal with it. But Axman coming off the bench does just enough.
Well, Axman actually started versus Loudon in 2025 in a match a year ago in which they lost 3-2. But we're starting to see some good substitutions done by Westchester, but we're starting to see some tired legs. That's even though they're pushing forward with Hermosi and Martin, players in the middle of the park are starting to lose some steam. And hence the reason Loudon's starting to find some space.
Awkward hop before Hamid Bogle met it. Clever back heel to keep it alive. Murphy trying to shape the chipped pass. And now Westchester United all the way out from the back. Bogle played every minute last year against Loudon in the U.S. Open Cup. Shillington, Pennsylvania native. Started his college career with Alvernia in D3 before earning a move to Division I Mount St. Mary's. And Thomas. Robinson. Hermosi. No dice.
Well, as the minutes or seconds started to tick away, a little bit of desperation started to come into Westchester's game. Understanding, though, that their best moments are when they took their time and played the ball through the middle of the park.
It's Sean Young who is on the turf. Came off the bench for just under a half hour last week against Pittsburgh and scored a great goal. Man from Victoria in British Columbia, Canada. Became Pacific FC's first local signing and the first player to reach 100 appearances for the club. Former Canadian Premier League champion.
I tell you what, with Salvatore Mazzaferro coming off in the first half with a hamstring injury at centre back for this Loudon team, the last thing they need right now is one of their centre midfielders, Sean Young, to pick up an injury.
'79th minute, 2-0 Loudon United over Westchester United. Both goals coming in the first half. The first in just the third minute. Marcos Diaz, the former MLS Next Pro standout, getting his first.
The cleverest of finishes, Phil. Just when the defender was closing in and the goalkeeper, he just toe pokes it to the far corner, something that Romario made a living on for Brazil. Then, turning provider instead of scorer. And guess who? The veteran, Amo, to make it 2-0. And you have to say Loudon had, it was good credit for their 2-0 lead. They had 8 shots compared to 5. against Westchester just at the half. So I think the visitors really did a great job in stabilizing this very hectic game and capitalizing on their moments because of Diaz.
Well, this is the date that Loudoun United head coach Anthony Limbrick has had circled in his calendar for quite some time. Man from Australia with a lengthy coaching career in England with a variety of teams in the FA Cup, a storied competition as well. He said, quote, as a kid, he was getting up at all hours of the morning to watch the FA Cup. He lived for the upsets.
Yes.
He would watch the final every year. He manages to lead a couple teams to cup sets of their own during his time. And now a chance to move past the first round before they take on Miami FC in the USL Championship this weekend. As Jack Panayiotou, after an excellent day at the office, will be replaced by Tor Ufarsson.
Yeah, I think his coach would have enjoyed his adventure from the right-hand side coming in, either with a shot or a pass, or taking players on to create space for other players. Tor Panayiotou had a great game.
Leading the match, number 16, Jack Panayiotou.
Tor Ufarsson,
number 17,
who scored the first goal of the season for Loudon against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Now a chance maybe to add some insurance and deliver the club to the second round of the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup.
Looks like Loudon might make a Florida trip pretty soon. A couple of games coming up on their agenda.
The U.S. Women's National Team will conclude its 3-match series against Japan on Friday, April 17th in Commerce City, Colorado, featuring the last two She Believes Cup champions. This top 10 matchup takes place on a special Hello Kitty theme night at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Secure your tickets today at ussoccer.com/tickets. Young clipped along one more time. It's Ordonez! Unable to find the back of the net from 10 yards away.
Whenever the ball, especially on artificial turf, is going across your body, you have to overcompensate. You have to hook the ball just to get it down the middle. Ordonez tried to look for the last post, spliced it again like Phil's drive off the golf course, and it went wide.
Man, come on. I haven't even played golf in like a year. It's not
It
very
shows.
nice. You're not wrong. Momo lost out. Meller doing enough. Gets it right back, Luca Meller. Brains. No time yet to work in the cross. Really good interplay by Westchester. Akinyone called into action. Now Hormozy outside the box. Took a deflection. Ems Patcher on the volley. Still not dealt with for Loudoun United. The host will recycle. Hormozy again. Wins a corner kick.
Now I love Hormozy's decisions for the entire match. But when you have a player that just peeled off the left-hand side and overlapped, it was Breens. Hormozy still went back on his left foot to cross when he had Breens wide open for a free cross on that left-hand side. I know it's tired legs for Hormozy. He's been the player of the match for Westchester. But you want to use that runner. If you're going to use that route, use the runner.
Tired legs for Mo, trying to chase it down. Instead beat to it by Mason Miller. Hormozy, big shoulder. Does enough for the throw-in. Awkward one in midfield. Loose ball picked up by Ulfarsson. Only for a few seconds. Now Breens. Hormozy once again stings the palms of Bandre, who spilled it. Still alive, and it's 2-1! Westchester United have life in the 85th minute. Game on in Philly.
The one person you thought had the safest hands on the pitch, Bandry, who did a great job, but it knuckled, it bent. And there was Robinson to make his life uncomfortable, and a fantastic finish by Jackson Martin, who's been one of the lifelines of this Westchester team throughout this match.
The former Sacramento Republic MLS Next top goal scorer breathes life into Westchester United's Open Cup hopes. If they can manage one more before the end of regulation, the game will go to 2 15-minute halves of extra time. If still tied, PKs.
Phil, we've been raving about Bandry all night long, how good he's been, but he has to take responsibility for that goal.
Westchester goal scored by
Defend another cross here. For James Patcher.
If it was to his side and he threw himself and he dove and couldn't clear it with his hands, that's excusable, but straight at him, it bubbled right out of him. He has to do better.
But on the same wavelength, you talk about Jackson Martin, who played on the left-hand side for most of this night, has played traditionally as a 9, both in MLS Next and in college, wins another foul right on cue, and when he gets central, he scores a goal.
And guess who's in the neighborhood? Bordia Harmosi, who's been the player of the match for Westchester. We kept calling his name. He kept trying shots after shots on Bandry. Has a dead ball scenario. It's really far out. It's going to take something that he's never done before to tie this game up. However, he has the opportunity. The stage is set for him to create his masterpiece.
Bordia Harmosi, a Maryland native, the Princeton Tiger, standing over the dead ball. Harmosi will go for it! And Bandry stops. The rebound out of play. Nearly the equalizer in the 87th minute.
It dipped perfectly, and here comes Jacob Weaver. He has to keep his head down. You have to keep your chest over the ball. Harmosi did all the hard work. Weaver had the easy part. However, scoring goals is still the most difficult thing to do in this sport.
A team that rallied from behind to win the USASA National Championships, the first team from Philadelphia to win it in 51 years, to book another ticket to the US Open Cup this year. The championship taking place in Milwaukee, which is not an easy trip from Philadelphia. It was a local businessman, Jim Lucchini, whose son played for the team for many years, who helped fund the trip. His company, Kirk Trucking, the jersey sponsor for Westchester United tonight. And buying a jersey sponsor is not something often seen at the amateur level, very expensive, but head coach Blaise Santangelo said Jim Lucchini's son played for this club for a number of years. He helped make that national championship trip winning possible. He made tonight possible in the US Open Cup, and it's a nod to him. He was emotional before the game, seeing the tribute. It was a surprise to get the logo on the jersey for him. And it just speaks to the community ties of this team. A city that is intertwined with the 100+ year history of the US Open Cup. Harmosi still going.
Look at the body language though, Phil. They want to get on the ball. They want to try something. They want to test Bandry again. They're the quickest to every loose ball at this point.
I bet with 2 yellow cards and a goal, there's going to be a good bit of added time as well. Incredible story nonetheless for this club.
But can they hold their nerve and realize that they have enough time to build up the ball? They don't have to panic, just like now. Build up.
Plenty of space afforded James Patcher on the near side. One-on-one against Piras. To the top of the key. Harmosi once again stands it up. And losing his footing was Mason Miller, who hobbles away.
Well, Mason Miller has fresh legs, not fresh ankles. That ball went over the top and looks like he turned his ankle and he couldn't get on the end of it. Excellent ball again by Hormozi.
Miller, another player with Division I experience, played in the Patriot League with Colgate in upstate New York. First appeared in the U.S. Open Cup for Westchester United back in 2022. Robinson on the turn. Martin somehow gets there. Tried his best to stay with it. Now Loudon can go the other way. Sliding challenge. And a high foot there. Well, it looked like there may have been a foot over the ball when the challenge was made. The ball was won.
It made a loud sound of ball, foot on ball, so I think the referee understood that there was more ball than foot.
All eyes to the fourth official. It will be 4 minutes at a minimum.
The fourth official has
eternity, Phil. An eternity. And the black shirts are back on the ball. They want the ball. And it looks like Loudon just want to find the bus and get the heck out of Westchester.
Kimi Ordonez on it, going over. He could have had at least a goal or two in the second half. There's a late challenge. Advantage played. In behind is Ridge Robinson. Waiting for reinforcements.
The reinforcements aren't coming. They went straight into the box.
Turning at the byline, going over. Referee says goal kick.
Well, he's one of the reasons why they're here, Ridge Robinson. His fantastic play, classy touches to create space for others. But tonight's just been a little bit off.
65 goals, 42 assists in all competitions last year for Westchester United, 32-year-old Ridge Robinson out of Littleton, Colorado.
A yellow card caution has been issued to Loudon United's number 8, James Murphy, in added time.
Looks like James Murphy picked up a caution for that late challenge. Referee waved advantage correctly. And now Westchester again on the break. Hormozi back into pressure, and the whistle sounds again. Murphy was right there. Instead it goes to Young, and tempers flare. Bardia Hormozi upset with the challenge. Sean Young seeking confrontation as well. Referee doing an excellent job of calming things down, and cautions Young for the challenge.
Yellow card caution has been issued.
Well, he was the last person that Loudon wanted to see on the ball. And they took care of him quickly before he got any sort of momentum. That's how much of a thorn in the side Hormozi has been for Loudon.
What a cup match this has been. Right down to the wire. Gritty, intense, scintillating, far from over. Deep delivery. Underneath it is Axtman, settled by Amspatcher. Looking for breathing room. Breen's had a moment, loses one. Ball headed away once again.
Anywhere will do right now for Loudon.
And they might get a break here. Ufarsson has acres of space. So too does Amo. Flag stays down. Ufarsson wide open to seal it! And it's over the bar! Westchester United still alive.
That was all Andrew Samuels. But look at the counter-attack. They changed gears so quickly. And Ufarsson got there first, but Samuels just making himself large.
Well, head coach Blaise Santangelo said Andrew Samuels might just be the best goalkeeper in all of college soccer. The eve of his 21st birthday, makes a great save. Named the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year with a program record 12 shutouts in a single season, as Loudon will keep it in the corner for as long as they can.
Well, I have to say, Westchester, the little train that can. They did everything right except concede in that first half. And right now, Loudon is licking their wounds after Westchester delivered some blows in the second half.
We talked about the legacy of the Bethlehem Steel, the Philadelphia Ukraine Nationals, the story of the U.S. Open Cup in this city. Westchester United have been here year after year after year. Hundreds of players coming through the levels, dozens signing professional contracts. They embody exactly what this competition and amateur soccer is all about in the United States. That may just do it. Amo, Ufarsa making the run. So too is Amo. Blocked out of play by Luca Meller. Referee with a check of the watch, and that will do it. Loudoun United is moving on. 2-1 the final over the USASA national champions, Westchester United. An incredible contest going down to the final minute. A valiant effort by the hosts, but in the end, the USL Championship side into the second round.
By the skin of their teeth, Westchester hitting above their weight. Did a great job in the second half, actually the first half as well. Even though they went down 2-0, they stayed compact, they stayed with their game plan in a little 4-4-2 diamond, controlling the middle of the park. They created chances in the first half. Ethan Bandre came up with some fantastic saves, created chances towards the end of the second half, and in the end it was just enough for Loudon to scrape by.
A physical contest, a well-officiated contest. We'll take a look at the full-time highlights from Pennsylvania, and the home fans didn't have to wait long for the first goal, but it was for the visitors.
Diaz has been the man. He's the difference between the two sides, scoring with a fantastic toe punch to make it 1-0. Something out of nothing.
This was the shot off the post from Sean Young, who got the goal at the weekend against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and then Westchester from the opening minute were right there with the visitors.
Yeah, that was Jackson Martin against Bandry, and again this time Diaz finding his friend Amo, tucks it home for 2-0, and again the scorer, now turning provider, was the difference in the first 45 minutes.
Ethan Bandre making a number of crucial saves. This was Jack Panayotu from the corner of the box, nearly whipping one in. This was that second Bandre save before the break.
Yep, that's two saves by Bandre in that first half, and that's Hormozy just going wide in the second.
Martin Hormozy, a big-time player in the second half for the hosts. Kimi Ordonez off the bench, had a few chances. This looked like to cut into the deficit from Hormozy. The flag went up, but in the end, Westchester United kept knocking on the door, and it swung open.
Hormozy's effort finally pays off, and Jackson Martin to the rescue to tuck it home. Now this was a fantastic save by Andrew Samuels, just making himself large, heroic.
Full-time stats, remember, just 8 shots in the first half for Westchester. More than double that by the end of the match. We mentioned the slight edge in possession for Loudoun United, but this was an incredible cup game.
Exactly what we hoped for in the US Open Cup, 111 years in, and it's still wowing us with every match. And Westchester United, take a bow. You absolutely put on a show in your little town, and Loudoun United, the USL Championship team, just got by.
Well, they've been here almost every year in the last decade, Westchester United. It likely won't be long before we see them again, but tonight, Loudoun United on top, and they move on. For everybody behind the scenes making this broadcast possible, our producer Hunter Nixon, my partner Ryan Davis, I'm Philip Galani saying so long from the city of brotherly love. 2-1 the final. We'll see you in the next round.